What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at a scenario where civilization starts over in Europe, and this is going to be episode 13, World War II, part 2. So, last episode we saw that Greece attacked Poland, and Czechia was absolutely obliterated, and Germany joined the war on Poland's side, surprisingly. And yeah, let's just get straight into this video. So, the first thing that's going to be happening is, I can't remember if that got encircled again or if that was a problem before, but, whatchamacallit, Poland's going to be making some small advancements in here, and they're taking the city halfway. They've also made a few advancements in Greece, but as we saw last episode, Greece had a major pushback. So, because Poland used to be all the way down to like here, but anyway, we see we see some Greek advancement in this area here. Almost to the border. So, yeah, Greeks are doing pretty good. Prussia is going to expand. Not expand, they're going to take out, or actually, what is there to take out? Never mind. I guess Bosnia. They're trying to liberate all of Austria. So they're, they are, getting Austria back, or trying to at least. And they're actually pretty successful with that, for the most part. They just need to get just southern Austria back mainly. So, but other than that, they're doing pretty good. Part of Czechia, like I said, is still here, just on the front lines of the dark green country. We're gonna see Poland making another big push in the dark country. They're not doing the best in Greece, but they are definitely dominating this dark green country here. And they actually do wipe out some of the Czechian front line that still is remaining, which is not much at all. But the dark green country is falling. This encirclement is pretty much gone. Yeah, it's gone. So, now Greece, the Greek front line, since there's a defensive line here now, the Polish are starting to get around it because they're invading this country here. They finally wipe out the Czechian front line. The Polish are doing pretty good, but then we see a major offensive from Greece into Poland, up the coast, and they take the first city in Poland, or at least major city. And Poland is shocked because they're already almost to the second major city, and they're approaching Ukrainians, or the Ukrainian border. So Ukraine's going to send more soldiers because they're more freaked out now. The Greeks are also able to counter some of this up here. And the Bosnians come in and also start a few offensives up here, and they succeed. So as you can see, the front line right now is like here. Well, actually, hold on. It's from here, comes all the way down here, and then it comes up here, and then to Prussia, so it's pretty long. But then, after Prussia takes most of Austria back, we see this thing happening. So we pull up the alliances real quick, and Prussia has, oh, whoops, wrong layer. Sorry. We see Prussia leaving the Triangle Alliance. Now, they haven't left the war yet. However, something big is about to go down. Gotta get this color again. The Prussians had a conference, or a meeting with the Greek government, and they joined the Circle Alliance, which is not good. Poland and Lithuania immediately opened fire, or mainly Lithuania, because they're closest to, or they had the most soldier. So Lithuania, hold on, let me make sure I'm on here. Lithuania immediately opens fire on Prussia, the OG part of Prussia, I guess you could say, and they go straight in and take quite a bit of it. And remember how Denmark also positioned soldiers on here? Well, they also opened fire, and they're already taking a city and all the coastline right there. So they have pretty much almost blocked all sea access for Germany. And so here we could see that, yeah, Denmark and Lithuania make advancements into here. And we also see some advancements made by Prussia into Poland. They already had troops stationed without Poland knowing. And the reason they're going straight into Poland rather than sabotaging their front lines over here is because it's close to their capital. So they're trying to make a big front line here, so they're kind of a little bit safer from Poland. And they did end up pushing back Lithuania just a little bit. And surprisingly, since Poland's being attacked now, we see Belarus join third party. They're not on anybody's side, but they're just joining in. And they open up a front line on here, which immediately Ukraine was like, oh, heck nah. So Ukraine comes in and opens up their front line on Belarus. Whatchamacallit. So anyway, yeah, we see that happening, and then whatchamacallit. So the front lines stop with Prussia and Austria and Bosnia, and Prussia immediately Prussia immediately comes into here. I'm gonna actually take the alliance layer off just for a second so I can actually see what I'm doing. Comes in here, they attack Poland, and Poland honestly wasn't expecting this, but they knew they shouldn't have put Prussia join the war, because if they didn't, Prussia wouldn't have a bigger army now, because Prussia has been training their army now that they're in the war, and Poland allowed that because they didn't think that Prussia would turn on them. So Prussia takes this city here, nearing Poland's coastline. Of course, they have some down here, but they can't actually get out of the Black Sea right now because of the blockade. So even so, they wouldn't really be able to access their colonies, which wouldn't be good. So luckily, they still have Lithuania here with a giant coastline, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem, because Denmark and Lithuania are blockading this right here. So technically, Poland should have no problem getting out if they need to. But we see Prussian forces, they're German, but mainly Prussian forces coming in, taking back some of their land here, and German and Prussian forces going into here, almost cutting off Poland. Lithuania starts an offensive into Belarus, taking a major city already. And surprisingly, we see somebody else join the war, and they're not on anybody's side either. Actually, they're like a fourth party, not even a third party. We see Russia joined the war. They immediately attacked Belarus. As we know from World War One, Belarus was actually they were granted with Belarus, like they actually got Belarus as their land. However, they since they had the Civil War, pretty much Belarus just broke off from the country again, so they didn't have Belarus for long. So they started their offensive. They weren't hostile to Lithuania or Ukraine, but we'll see what happens. So Ukraine immediately comes toward their capital, gets stopped, and Belarus just keeps going.
Bo wants to.
Okay, I'm recording now.
Well, you what?
I'm recording. Ow. Hi guys. Hi good boy.
Love you, Bo.
Anyway, so Belarus just full sends into here because they know they're probably going to get dominated, but they're going to full send, and they actually do pretty good, surprisingly, because they just sent like pretty much all of their army into Poland, but Poland just kind of immediately repels most of it, and takes back the city pretty quickly. So Belarus kind of just wasted a lot of their army doing that, but it's okay for them. They're just trying to take out Poland for the most part. So we see Russia also blitzing for their capital, or running towards their capital, I guess you could say. They're trying to get to their capital before Ukraine does for some reason. But Ukraine gets super close. Lithuania also closes in on them. You could see here. Lithuania also makes another offensive in here. So most of East Prussia right here is almost gone out of Germany's hands. Denmark also, surprisingly, makes a small push, cutting off Germany from their main coastline. I know they have it here, but technically that's Poland, so they can't really. And of course they do have Prussia's too, but they're kind of cut off from Prussia, or East Prussia, so yeah. Denmark is actually getting close to their capital, so Prussia's trying to do something about that. So actually they pull some of their armies from Czechia when they're fighting Poland, because they can. Why does it do this? It's so weird. They could care less about Czechia at the moment, so they pull some of their armies from back here, which, as you can see, Poland makes a push because of this. They actually go into German mainland a little bit, and they bring their armies up here to counterattack Denmark, and they actually end up making a. Hold on, I'm gonna actually redo this. They make a massive encirclement in Denmark, or not in Denmark, but in Germany, and Denmark had a lot of their armies there, so they're trying to flee at the moment. And Denmark's front line kind of collapses, as you can see. Germany completely wipes out this encirclement fast and takes out a lot of Danish soldiers. And they actually end up landing in this Danish island and completely taking it, and landing in Sweden. And as you guys know, technically it was in Poland, like it was like right here, but they had a colony up here before World War I. So they're advancing into the colony, and this is not good for Poland or Denmark technically, because if Poland, which I don't think they will, I mean unless I want them to, but I mean Poland's still holding strong. If Poland had to evacuate, this is usually their main colony that they would go to. They did in World War I. Of course, they have, like, Scotland, but, that's kind of farther away. And also, they can't really reach Scotland if Germany has control now over this, because they kind of do now. So, yeah, Sweden's kind of their only hope for that. Anyway, so Germany makes a push here. We see Russia making another push here, almost to the Belarusian colony. And they pretty much near it with Ukraine. Ukraine also comes in, swoops in, kills most of these Belarusian, or takes out most of these Belarusian soldiers. Sorry, I can't speak English. Stopped working. Poland pushes into Belarus, even though they don't really need to. They probably shouldn't because they're using some of their armies to do this. They pretty much completely surround Belarus's capital, like all sides do. But Russia ultimately ended up capturing it, so Russia doesn't get all the credit, but they get a lot of it because they captured it. So Russia captures it, and they're just chilling for a minute. So Russia was, for the most part, allies with Poland. Of course, they had their civil war, so a few things change. I mean, not a lot change, because this is still, if I'm not mistaken, this is still the main part of Russia over here, like the one that wasn't getting attacked by the rebellion, but, you know, a few things have changed to kind of keep the country calm, I guess you could say. So Prussia has actually made a few more advancements as well, up here on Poland's coastline, which is not a good thing, because if they don't have their coastline, besides having Lithuania, they won't have their own, be able to get to their own colonies. So, actually though, yeah, Germany comes up and just encircles them on their coastline, and the Polish governor, or the Polish president, whatever, 777 Aviation, as we know, he's still, I guess you can call him the imperial, or whatever, he's the king, I guess you could say, of Poland right now. He flees to Sweden, because now that their coastline's cut off, this could be one of their only chances. So he flees to Sweden because, you know, he gotta be, like, you know, gotta be safe, you know. So he flees to Sweden. Prussia takes back this land and this major city. They're actually getting pretty close to the capital, as a matter of fact. Prussia's taken back a lot of their old lands. If you watch the other episodes, you would know that they used to own a lot of this area. So, but Bosnia and Prussia are completely kicking Poland out of Czechia, or attempting to. So Poland's not, like I said, they were doing good before, but now they're kind of starting to get oofed. So let's do this. So Russia opened fires on Lithuania, and Lithuania is like, what the heck, bro? Because they technically weren't in the, Russia technically wasn't in the alliance, but Lithuania didn't think that Russia would open fire. So they didn't actually open fire on Ukraine. They only opened fire on Lithuania and Poland. However, Ukraine opened fires on Russia. They're not going to let that slide. So Ukraine takes the capital of Belarus and advances up into here. They're not going to let that slide. So, but Russia makes a quick comeback and retakes this capital, and even goes further and takes most of Lithuania or pretty much all of Lithuania and Poland's control over Belarus, and they advance into Poland a little bit. They take back this, and Ukraine is getting cooked by Russia at the moment. As you can see, they also advance into Lithuania a little bit, which is not good for Lithuania. But as you can see, the Triangle Alliance is starting to fall apart a little bit. We have some advancements in Greece. So right there. Anyway, yeah, so we have some advancements in Greece. They actually do come up into Poland and cut off their Black Sea coastline, which even having the Black Sea coastline is, I guess, nice, but in theory, they really can't do much with it anyway because they're getting blockaded right here, so they can't really get out of it anyway. So, yeah, actually, though, surprisingly, Turkey joins the war. I mean, they were in the war, they were supplying it, but they actually started doing something. They landed in Crimea, and took most of it. And Russia announces, hold on, let me go to here. Let's go to here. Russia announces that they're joining the Circle Alliance. Hold on, I need to make it bigger for Russia. Russia announces that they're joining the Circle Alliance, and Poland feels major betrayal from Russia because they did work together in the last war. So, as you can see, Russia joined the Circle Alliance. Crazy, I know. And Poland, Russia does a speech on the radio, like, for all Russians to hear, that Poland shall fall because they have been leading over Europe for too long. Of course, World War I wasn't too long ago, but we're just considering it that it was it was probably about 20 years ago, maybe 30. So they've been ruling over Europe for a while now. And even before World War I, even though Germany had a lot of control over Europe, Poland was the main controller. Alright, so yeah, anyway, Poland's had a lot of control over Europe lately, and Germany wants to end that. So, that's why Germany declared war. So here we have Poland making a few advancements, trying to take the city back, because if Germany can keep going, that way, they could easily get the capital of Poland, so that's not good. And we have Russia, even though Russia is kind of dookie. Russia decided to betray Poland, as we know, and come up here, and they're and they're taking out Lithuania too, as we know. And since Finland is in the Triangle Alliance, Finland is gonna decide to fully join the war against Russia, and Russia kind of expected that, so they already crossed into Finland. They're gonna join the war because, like I said, they're gonna join the war because they're in the Triangle Alliance. Now they actually have a purpose in the war because Russia joined. And also too, like I said earlier, 777 Aviation, the ruler of Poland, has evacuated to Sweden, and he's actually on his way to Great Britain now, because he's on his way to Great Britain now because now that Prussia has invaded the Nordic Peninsula, or whatever it's called. I forgot what it's called. Scandinavia. That's what it is. I'm sorry. It's not Nordic. It's Scandinavia. Since Prussia started to invade Scandinavia, the ruler of Poland has evacuated to Great Britain for his safety. And Prussia has completely kicked Denmark out of Germany, and they're even getting some of their old lands back. They're nearing Denmark's capital. They've taken out most of this colony here. They've even started to enter Poland's colony, and they landed on the north part of Denmark, which sucks for Denmark. And they are advancing quickly. It's a good thing that Poland's ruler has evacuated, because they used to be in this city right here that Prussia just took. Anyway, Prussia advances into Prussia, East Prussia, and takes back this Polish city here, inching closer and closer to Poland's capital. Poland needs a counterattack now, or they're not going to make it. And we have East Prussia fully taken back, and the Lithuanian city being taken. I don't know why that little dot is there. I'll fix it later. As you can see, Lithuania is not doing so well. Poland is working on a counterattack. They're concerned about Russia, but they're mainly more concerned about Germany. So they're going to counterattack up into here, up into Prussia, and take back the city and get super duper close to encircling Prussia, or technically not, because there's the sea, but whatever. So Poland gets super close. Lithuania sends a ton of army to help Poland, but Prussia, or Germany, whoever they are, is able to hold them off for a second. Poland also takes back the city. It's been like a back and forth with that thing. Still holding on to their capital though. They also push into Prussia or into Germany a little bit, not by much, but they're in Germany now. Denmark is not doing so good though. They cannot hold back against Prussia, and they are about to die. As you can see, they're getting completely encircled. As you can see though, Denmark is going to be surrendering to Prussia. As you can see, they've lost all of Denmark. And Prussia has taken... Hold on, I'm going to try something. Just a second. Hold on, let's see. Let's get a gray color. Or not that gray. Do we have like a gray that's not that gray? Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so Denmark. I'll just fix that. Okay, so Denmark is fully occupied by Prussia. That's why it's gray. So, yeah, Denmark got full on cooked. Rest in peace, Denmark, in the comments, please. Just absolutely rest in peace. This part is actually gonna be brown, like Prussian, the German color, because they're actually annexing that land, or fully occupying it. I mean, Denmark's fully occupied, but you know what I mean. They're fully annexing that land because this used to kind of be, their land. So, hold on, I'm just making sure nothing happened with anything. Okay, so, Prussia pushes back the Polish a little bit here, but the Polish have showed signs of not stopping, and they actually did encircle the Prussians, or the Germans, which is not good for the Germans, but it's okay, for them, I guess. Not okay, but they're confident that they can get out of the situation. Now, here's the thing. Russia is sprinting towards Poland. There's not as much Polish army over here because Poland's a lot more focused on Germany, but now they're going to realize that their situation with Russia is a lot worse than they thought. Russia also advances into Ukraine. And Ukraine, luckily their capital's down here, so they could hold on for a little bit unless Greece decides to, get their capital. So Poland's actually able to hold off the Russians here, but Lithuania is getting dangerously close to dying. As you can see, Russia is very close. So Poland has started the front line. Russia pushes down to Ukraine, or Poland start a defensive line. Let's see, Greece has sorry, I haven't showed much of Greece, but they're absolutely dominating. About to take Ukraine's capital. They've advanced all up into here. So they're doing excellent right now. So anyway, they actually ended up doing this. They invaded the Green Country because the Green Country was falling apart, and they decided to just kind of betray them. They weren't actually in the Circle Alliance in the first place. I don't think they were. They weren't. They were just friends of Greece, but Greece just decided to invade them. Because they weren't doing so good anyway, like I said. So Ukraine is, it's cutting close, okay? Turkey, I forgot Turkey actually invaded Crimea, or whatever you want to call it, the peninsula. So Turkey's doing really good over here, heading up the coast. Sorry if there's background noise. Also, too, this country, I forgot about them, kind of, but they also did a small offensive into Ukraine and took a lot of this area. Not much, but they met up with Turkey. So, good for them, right? Hold on, let me... good for them, I guess. But yeah, they are in the Circle Alliance, so they kind of helped a little bit with Ukraine. They did push right up into here just to kind of. They'll end up annexing a lot of that land if they end up winning the war. So, anyway, though, the Bosnian country over here. Bosnian country is also dominating Poland over here, taking a lot of Polish land and even coming up into here and taking this Czechian city up here. And then Prussia kind of just doesn't cut them off, but, takes this area up here and pushes into this Polish city. Now, Poland situation is not so good. So, actually, Germany pushes the Polish out of Prussia, but Poland decides to start a little offensive, takes back that city, like usual, and comes up into here. They actually do really good. As you can see, they're almost back up to their coastline, which is good because they could receive supplies from the colonies and stuff. They get up to their coastline into the city, and encircle Prussia again, but it won't be long. I don't think it will. It probably won't be long until Prussia comes and decides to take them out again. But East Prussia is liberated for the most part. They're not technically encircled, which they kind of are, but they're holding their ground because it's this main German land. As for Lithuania, they ended up pushing back the Russians just a little bit, not by much, but they pushed them back a little bit because they do not want their capital to be taken. It's very close to the Polish border, so they're holding on for dear life, let's put it that way. But they did push back the Russians a little bit, surprisingly. And they also pushed back Germany, or Prussia, quite a bit, actually. They're doing pretty good. However, the Polish colonies, not so good. Like I was saying, they could receive support from the colonies, but they're currently not receiving support because the Polish and Lithuanian colonies are getting completely wiped out. I just realized, too, I forgot to delete this capital, because this used to be the Lithuanian capital when the Baltic country took over, like the dictatorship. So I'll fix that after this war. As you can see, though, Prussia is taking out this. They also advance up into here because this is from Denmark, so they could just have easy access to just taking the rest of this colony up here. So they're not really too focused on it, though, because once you get further up north, it gets colder and colder, and there's not much up here anyway. Or there's probably stuff up here, but they're not as focused because there's not much of an army up here anyway. So they're just kind of leaving that be. They're trying to take out all the most important areas of the colony. So they do restart their offensive and regain control of Poland's coastline and come back down into here. Take this city once again. The city's probably in ruins right now because of how many times it's been through what it's been through. Prussia decides to push into Lithuania finally. Try to, do something about it because Lithuania is now holding two front lines. So that actually, since Lithuania is trying to focus their armies here, now that gives Russia a chance to come back and try to take the capital again, which they fail because Lithuania somehow held them off. But Lithuania's army, even though it's a powerful country, the army's not as big. They have a pretty big navy though, so they're definitely dominating in the Baltic Sea. But of course, they can't keep their colonies for some reason because of their army. So, but they're absolutely dominating the Baltic Sea right now and parts of this area too. Even though technically Germany owns that, they're just trying to take out a lot of German ports and ships mainly to kind of destroy their, when they're trying to transport men and whatnot. So, Poland, though, is not doing too good. I know I've said that like 5 million times, but Greece has advanced more, even taking this city. They've also advanced in Ukraine, encircling the Ukrainian capital. Whoops, too much. They encircled the Ukrainian capital in a pretty big encirclement. Ukrainians and Poland's, mainly Ukrainians, but there's a few thousand Polish soldiers fighting in Ukraine, so they're trapped. Greece is absolutely dominating, though. Turkey hasn't really made much of an advancement. or, Turkish country. The Russians make more advancements now that Ukraine's practically fallen because their capital is encircled. The Russians have made more advancements in Ukraine, even almost reaching the city here. They're doing pretty good. Typical Russian things. Anyway, they're so close to Lithuania's capital, even taking some new Lithuanian cities. Also, I kind of forgot about Finland up here, but they're absolutely destroying Finland. But Finland is definitely holding their own. I'll tell you that. Like, they have started a defensive line, and they're definitely doing really good. Russia just took back that area. They're pretty much dominating across northern Lithuania. And Lithuanian people are starting to get kind of angry because they don't like the war. Russia meets up with Germany and practically encircles the capital. Technically not, though, because they still have access to Poland. Poland's kind of strong. So, yeah. That happens, and then Prussia, or Germany, I keep calling them Prussia, but technically they're both, comes up here, pretty much takes this entire peninsula up here, just dominates it. They even take one of Lithuania's islands, sadly. They do, and they also take that one of the main Lithuanian islands. They even come so far up here and take the city, which is insane, but they get that far. It's crazy. Anyway, Germany takes this area up here. The Bosnian army is inching closer. And Poland seems to be falling apart. Now, this is not good because, it's not good. So, Lithuania has officially surrendered, because they were getting full-on cooked, and their army couldn't handle it anymore. So, Lithuania surrendered, split between the Russians and the Germans, the occupation zones for now. As you could see, Russia and Germany have completely occupied, besides the colonies, of course. There's still 2 Lithuanian colonies and 1 Polish colony still standing. Poland and Ukraine are the last stand, but as you can see, Ukraine is kind of cooked. And Ukraine would not win this without Poland. So Ukraine gets their capital taken. They did not surrender yet, though. Still got plenty of armies. They're just haven't surrendered. In World War I, they didn't technically ever surrender. They just kind of kept fighting even the resistance. Greece takes the city. Greece and Russia meet up, or their armies do. Ukraine gets completely obliterated, pretty much. Even this country decides they would start their offensive again a little bit more, because Greece doesn't really care about this area, so they're just taking advantage of it. So now, Germany has advanced once again. Poland just cannot stop them from advancing. They're getting super close to the capital. So close, but the Polish have finally made some sort of defensive line, I guess you could say. Russia is coming around here, and Greece even pushes further up here. Cuts Bosnia off, kind of. And we see Poland is pretty much done for. There's no coming back. I mean, they probably still have at least 800,000 men on these front lines. I mean, that's quite a bit. But they're very outnumbered. Even though the Prussian army or the German army is quite small right now, they're still pretty outnumbered. Because the Russian army is massive. And it's powerful, unlike kind of like real life in World War I and World War II, how they were kind of like, I mean, they were powerful, but, they were also struggling. They kind of struggled, too. So, this Russian country, though, is very powerful. Russia swings around here. Greece comes up for a final push into Poland. And, Prussia officially takes Warsaw, or their capital, whatever you want to call it, and Poland officially surrenders. So yeah, that is the end of World War II, and I will go ahead and start making the new borders. Alright, so as you can see in this peace treaty, a lot has changed. So, Lithuania has lost almost all of its land. We have a new red country here, and if you've been here since episode 1, you know that there used to be a red country there, and then they merged with Lithuania, I think. No, it's when the Baltic country formed, my bad. But the red country, whenever World War I ended, they rebelled out of the Baltic country, and they were fine with joining Lithuania. However, in this peace treaty, they're not allowed to. They were forced to be their own country. So, as you can see, Prussia has gained all of their old land back, for the most part. Poland is tiny now, compared to what they used to be. As you can see, this part is still here. Polish, that's like North Poland, that's like the Russian puppet state, I guess you could say. I have not deleted the alliances yet. I'll do that after this episode, after I'm done recording, if I remember about it. But yeah, but that used to be Polish land. As you can see, Ukraine has taken some Polish land, not because Ukraine wanted to, but because that's what the peace treaty said. Sorry if there's so much noise in the background. I don't know what that is. But anyway, Ukraine, as you can see, shrunk a lot besides taking some of this Polish land up here. Whoops. It's, they took a little bit of Polish land, but that's what the peace treaty said. They kept their capital. Greece was going to take that, but Ukraine insisted that they wouldn't. Turkey got some land here, and then this country expanded majorly. This country stayed because they didn't join the war. Turkey's the same as their mainland. Greece is massive now. Bosnia took some of Czechia because Bosnia worked hard on the war. Czechia is still on good terms with them, though. They're just, a little bit smaller now, but they're good with Bosnia taking the land because, Bosnia kind of saved their life in a way, I guess. Not really, but, they won the war for them, so they didn't have to be under Polish control. Now, we have, as you can see, the Polish colony in Scotland has been released, and, as their own country. As you could tell, though, Lithuania still has their colonies, because for some reason, they didn't take them away. Prussia regained all of their old colonies, pretty much, and actually got more. Denmark lost a ton of land. They're just their old land now, and they lost all their colonies. Finland lost quite a bit of land, too, compared to what they had. Oh yeah, this country, I don't know if I mentioned that already, that's like a Greek puppet, kind of, that's used to be part of Poland also. Germany annexed Austria, and 2 new countries have formed up here. We have like a Scandinavian country, and then like a Swedish country where the Polish and Lithuanian colonies used to be. So, that will be it for today's episode, because it's a long episode, I believe. It's probably a long episode, at least. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave your suggestions down below for future episodes. And I'm sorry to all of you Polish fans that Polish got defeated, but trust me, maybe he'll make a comeback. Poland will make a comeback one day. And also, 777 Aviation is still being chilling. You want to know why? He's not the leader of Poland anymore. Germany replaced the government. However, Lithuania still has the same government as they did usually. The Polish ruler, 777 Aviation, is actually ruling over this island right now, or governing this island. Even though it's part of Lithuania, he's helping govern the island until they liberate Poland again. So, so he's still helping out. He's not in mainland Lithuania, just in case if something happens, a war broke out, and so hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Leave your suggestions down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.